Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd, as well as my friends over at yarnspirations.com. Today I have a pattern that is my own design. This is called the Breaking Waves Afghan. I designed this while I was in a cruise in Cuba and discovering the education of Cuba, as we did this in December of 2017. So this is my project on the ship, and I designed it as I went, and then once I got established, then I just kept maintaining the pattern. This is using Caron Big Cakes yarn. The color that you see is called blue Macaroon, so all the color transitions that you see are exactly what comes out of the yarn ball. So today I'm going to show you how to do this. It's a repeat pattern of numbers 3 all the way through 6. So I got to get you to 1, 2, and 3, and then we can start then the repeat pattern so that you know what to do. But let me show you a close-up example, because this has texture to it and I think that you'll love it at the same time. So here's what the pattern looks like up close. There's a bit of texture to it because we are going to play with the front and the back posts at a certain point in order to get the textures that you see. I called it the breaking waves because I sat on the back of the ship and I saw the waves kind of like tossing and turning from the propellers, and it kind of reminded me of the coloring that I was doing here, that it was breaking from the deep blue of the Caribbean Sea to the light blue to all the way to the foam in the propeller action. So it reminded me of that. So what we have is that there's going to be an easy row, which is just single crochets. There's going to be some just maintaining the wave, and then there's going to be a back and front post in there in order to create the turning of the waves look. So it's actually a pretty easy way to go. When you look at the border, just like you see, you really get an idea exactly how it's going to go out. So I'm going to get you started today. We're going to go back to the pattern real quick, and then we're going to get our hook, and I'm going to use Caron 1 pound yarn just as demonstration so it's easier for you to follow along. So when we're looking at the pattern here, I had there was chain 210. It should be 209. I wrote this pattern while I was in the process of moving, so it should be 209, not 210, and it is a multiple of 19. So 19 is the number that we want to go. So if you want to change the size, you can either do 209 for exact size of what you see, or just do multiples of 19 as we go. So without further ado, let's grab our hook and yarn and let's begin. So let's begin. We're going to start off with the Slipknot, and remember what I said, it's in multiples of 19 if you want to change the size, or you can just do 209. That's up to you. So what you want to just do is that if you're going to change the size, just go in 19. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and there's 19. So what you want to consider is that when you look at this, you're thinking, well, that's a really wide chevron. Not really, because it'll go up like this. So when you're crocheting along and you're doing your chains, you may think that it might be too big, but then you got to consider that this will go up and down, so therefore it'll condense it. So I'm going to do another group of 19, and then you can either do groups of 19 or just do 209, and then that's up to you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. So once you're satisfied with the length of it, then you can begin to do row number 1. So let's begin to do that next. So as we begin to do the first row, what's going to happen is that we are going to start off and we're going to go in an up formation, and then we're going to go up over the top and then back down the other side. So we're just going to keep on going that all the way across. There's going to be a difference of coming down in the middles like this versus the very last one that you're going to do, and we'll cover that as we go. At the very last one, there's a slight change when you're coming to the very last section of your rows coming across. So just pay attention to that, and then we're going to get started going in the up motion and then back down and up like so. So let's begin. So let's begin row number 1. We're going to go 4th chain from the hook, so just count it back. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you're going to go 4th chain from the hook, and you're going to double crochet. Just as a disclaimer, this spacing that we just skipped over, this chain work, doesn't count as anything. It's just there. Okay, so don't count that into your pattern at all. So we're going to go in the up formation, and we're going to do a total of going 3 in the up formation. So how are we going to do that? We're going to skip the next chain, and we're just going to double crochet into the one after that, and just double crochet in the next one. And you're going to do that a total of 3 times. So that was 1 time out of 3. So skip the next chain and then double crochet in the next one after that, and do it one more time. So just skip the next chain and double crochet in the next. So in between on the edges, you have the very starting, there will always be 3 double crochets sitting by themselves with the chain 1 spaces in between them. So the next one here, the very next one, is gonna be part of going up over top of the hill. So it's gonna have 5 double crochets all within that same one. So yeah, 5, it's a lot. So 1, 2 and 3. This is 4 and 5. So we're not done. The very next one, the very next stitch is also gonna have 5. So in the tops of the hills there's always gonna be 5 double crochets on one side and 5 double crochets on the other whenever you're doing this type of work. Okay, so we're gonna do, this is number 2, 3, 4 and 5. So I said to you in the last segment is that you're gonna come down the hill. The only time that it changes on going down the hill is on the very edge on the other side. So in between it's always gonna be the same. So the very next stitch, the very next chain is gonna be 1 double crochet that sits by itself. Okay, that is gonna happen in the middle of your Afghan. So then you begin to do the skipping of chains and etc. So that, consider that 1 of 8, that double crochet sitting by itself. So skip the next chain and double crochet in the next one after that. So this is 2 of 8 for double crochet sitting by itself. So skip the next chain and double crochet in the one after that. That's 3 of 8. So 8 is your magic number. Skip the next chain and double crochet in the next one. This is 4. Skip the next chain, double crochet in the next. This is 5. Skip the next chain, double crochet in the next one after that. This is 6. Skip the next chain, double crochet after that. This is 7. And skip the next chain and double crochet in after that. So there should be a total count of 8 of these double crochets after you've got that group of 5 in here. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So when you come back over top of a hill, it's always gonna be the same in this particular line. Okay, you're gonna start off, then the very next stitch is going to be 5 double crochets like you had done before. And after you get that group of 5 done, you immediately go to the very next chain and put another 5 in. So they work in tandem with each other. It's quite a hill going up over top. So you're just gonna go back across your row doing the exact same thing. I'm just gonna quickly review because the very last time you do this, which is what I'm gonna show you next, is that it's slightly different. So if you're in the middle of your Afghan like so, okay, the next available one to you is gonna be a double crochet and then you start skipping these chains and putting in your 8 again. So it's the very next one after the group of 5. It's only on the very end of your Afghan that it changes. So right on the very end, in order to keep the balance, you gotta skip the next one. So after you get your group of 5, you skip the next one, not use it, and then you double crochet into the next one after that. And then skip the next one and double crochet in the next one after that. And then you skip the next one and double crochet after that. You want a total of 4 of these sitting by themselves, and then you skip the next one and go into the very last one that's available to you, and that's it. You're done. Okay, so you're completely done at this point. So remember what I told you in the very beginning, this chaining that you started with doesn't count as anything. So how many do you have before you see the tops of these 5 double crochets? There's 1, 2, 3 and 4. So therefore at the end of this one here is that you have to end with 1, 2, 3 and 4. So skipping that one right here matters. So you're gonna do that all the way across. This is row number 1, and then we're gonna review row number 2. So let's review row number 2. We're gonna turn to work. We do row number 2 quite often. If you look at the pattern, you end up having to redo number 2 over and over. It's an establishing of getting this really to go. So what we're going to do then is that we're going to do another row of these double crochets. So we don't double crochet every row. We have one row with just a single crochet across. So to get started, we're always going to do the same thing when it comes to doing repeat row number 2. It's going to be chaining a 3, which counts as a double crochet, and then you skip the next stitch and you double crochet into the next, and you do that a total of 4 times. So skip the next stitch available to you, and you are going to double crochet in. So skip the next one, double crochet in the next one. Okay, skip the next one, double crochet in the next one, just like so. Okay, so there you got your items in. So how many do you have? So you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so you had 4 down here that were standing by themselves. These are also 4, because when you skip the next one, the next one here is the last one of the group of 5. So that one's gonna be 5 double crochets into that one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So what do you think is going to happen in the next stitch after that? You have to do the other 5, right? So the other 5 has to be put in there first. So this is 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we've just come up, we had 4 double crochets stand by themselves, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then you had your group of 5, and then your next group of 5. Now you're gonna come down and do the sweeping action of going all the way across. How many double crochets are gonna be standing by themselves? You remember 8? It's gonna be 8. So to start the very first one, you just come to the very next stitch to you that you have, and you're gonna start off with the double crochet first. So that's 1 of 8. Skip the next stitch, double crochet in the next one. So this is 2. Skip the next one, double crochet in the next one. This is 3. Skip the next one, double crochet in the next. This is 4. So you keep on doing that until you get a number of 8 of these double crochets that are standing by themselves. And honestly, once you get a hold of this pattern and understand it, you'll see that it's very easy to see when you're done 8. Okay, and how can you tell when you're done 8? I think I'm done 8 now because I've been doing this pattern a while. I think I'm done 8, but let me verify. So I have 1 by itself, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. How did I know? Because see this group of 5? The very last one of the group of 5 should be 1 skipped, and then that one is the 5 double crochets in that one. So just look for the key elements. So this is number 2, 3, 4, and 5. So what goes in after that? Another group of 5 right directly beside it in the next stitch. So that's how you handle your going up over the top. So this is 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if you're continuing all the way across, then the very next stitch to you is going to be 1 double crochet, and then you skip 1, and then you just keep going 1 double crochet, skip 1, and you get a total of 8 again, and look for the markers of getting it. So once your 8th is in, you skip the stitch, and the next one is going to be 5, and then another 5, and so on. The only time it changes is on the very end, which is right now. So on the very end, when you come to there, you skip the next one, so you don't use it like you would if it was in the middle of your Afghan. You skip it and you double crochet into the next, and then you skip the next one, double crochet in the next. So you skip the next one, double crochet in the next, and then skip the last one. Remember this chaining of 3 never counted as anything, and you're just gonna skip your double crochet and go into the next, and you're done. So when you go down and you're finishing it, you'll have 1, 2, 3, and 4 by itself, and when you started it you had 1, 2, 3, and 4, so you're still in balance. So that was row number 2. We'll review this again in the future, but this is how you do row number 2. And now from rows number 3 through 6 is going to be a repeat pattern. So let's begin row number 3. So we're gonna turn our work and do row number 3. So row number 3 is all the 3-dimensional work that you see. So it's all the textures that you're seeing now. that you'll have come across. It's very easy to maintain. We're not gonna be worrying about skipping stitches at all. We're gonna do exactly what we see. So here's how you do it. So row number 3, really easy row. So you're gonna chain up 2. This chaining of 2 counts as absolutely nothing. It's a builder. So it's not an additional stitch. So you're going to then double crochet the front post. So coming straight down, I want you to double crochet around that post. So wrap the hook coming from the side, back out the other side, and then double crochet around that post. So then you're going to apply either a front post or a back post every stitch. You're not skipping stitches, you're not adding stitches anywhere, you're just gonna do this. So the next one, because you just did a front post, will be a back post. So wrap the hook coming from in behind and then back out, and then just double crochet. So if that was back, the next one has to be forward. So wrap the hook coming into the next one. So do you see I'm not skipping any stitches, I'm not adding any stitches, I'm not adding chains, I'm just front post, back post. That's all it is. So the next one must be a back post. And the next one must be a front post. And you do that all the way across your work. So it's either front post or back post. It's always opposite. So if you've just done a back post now, the next one, just pop it out forward. If you don't see it, just pop it forward so you can see it. This is a front post, and then the next one is a back post. Okay, and you're gonna do this all the way across your work. And this is what's giving that splashing look of the breaking of the waves. This is why I've named this Afghan, just before this effect alone. So just use this row going all the way across. It's either a front post or back post. Just maintain exactly what you see and just maintain it, and then we're gonna come at the end of the row and I'll show you how to finish this row. So front, it's either front post or it's back post. Just make sure you keep doing opposite to each other all the way across. So as we come all the way across, it's really quite an easy thing to maintain. You're not having to count anything. You just, as long as you just front post, back post all the way across. So it's a nice row for you to do without having to think twice about counting, and it gives you a bit of a mental break, and then you can just solve it and it looks amazing when you're done. So just coming down to the very last section, front post, back post, and the last one ends up being a back post. Just like that. So that's what it looks like at this point. You can see the nice texture has now just kicked in, and now we're ready to go with row number 4, which is the same as row number 2. So let's review that again. So let's turn our work and do row number 4. So row number 4 is exactly what we knew in row number 2. So we're skipping over stitches like we had been before. So to begin again, we're gonna chain up 3, which counts as a double crochet, and we skip the next stitch available to you and double crochet in the next. How many double crochets will stand by themselves on the side? 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's 4. So we now skip the next stitch and double crochet immediately into the next one after that. And we skip the next stitch and double crochet in the next one after that. So there is your 4 standing by itself. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So skip the next stitch just like you see here, and you're gonna put in 5 double crochets. So skipping the stitch and just going to one after, there's 5 double crochets in that one. I'm gonna show you a little bit of a visual technique to see if you're right, especially when you're coming all the way across. So the first group of 5 will show up on the post that is in the front that you see here. The next one of the group of 5 appears on the back post. So it appears on the stitch that appears in the back post from behind. So you're gonna, so if you look for that, it just kind of makes it easier for you to know if you're doing it right. So this is 2, 3, 4, and 5. So then coming down, remember the very next one is your starting one, so it's 1 double crochet by itself. So then we skip the next one, double crochet in the one after that. How many do we have to keep on doing to be all by themselves? It's 8. So we keep skipping one and double crocheting the next until we have the number 8 of these here. and I think that the next one is when I'm gonna skip, and this is the one. How do I know that? Well, part of it is that I'm looking for the group of 5, and remember what I told you, the very first one of the group of 5 will be on this front post looking stitch, and the second group will be on the back post. But let's count anyway. So we have 1 by itself, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So look for the visual cues of telling you what to do. So skip the next one, and then you're putting your 5 in the first one. So then there must be 5 in the next one, which appears to be sitting on the back post. And you're gonna keep doing that all the way across. And remember, we'll just review on how to start once I get my 5 in there. I'm at 4 right now. So if you're continuing along, then going across, you're immediately coming into the very first one after this, and then start your skipping, and you keep doing it till you have your group of 8. The only time it's different is on the very end. So you skip over this one in the very end, so you skip over the next one, and you double crochet in the next one, and then skip the next one and double crochet in the next one, and you keep doing that. And how many are you gonna end up with? The answer is 4. So there'll be 4 sitting by itself at the very end. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And remember, when we started we had 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we're gonna just turn our work and go for row number 5, simple row, no counting at all. So we're just gonna chain up 1, and we're gonna apply 1 single crochet to each one of the stitches going across. So just single crochet each across. Now you're thinking, why would you do that? Well, because in this particular type of styling of yarn with the Caron Big Cakes, this one layer of the single crochet really does make a popping difference, especially if it starts changing color within this row here. It does a really great job. So you're just not adding any stitches, you're just applying 1 single crochet into each, and then you get the nice waving swoosh of a wave. So just 1 single crochet in each, and then we're gonna repeat row number 6. And row number 6 is the same as row number 2, which we just finished. So let's me get across on this, and then I'll just meet you back here in just a moment. So I'm just finishing up row number 5, and I'm making sure I go all the way to the end. Make sure you don't forget that turning chain right in the very end, or you'll be out of count. Okay, so the only time the turning chain didn't count was on the very first row when we went to go do it over here. So we're gonna turn our work and do row number 6, which is the end of the repeat pattern. So you had rows 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is your 6, which is the same as number 2. So you're gonna chain up 3, which counts as a double crochet. You skip the next chain, double crochet in the next, and keep doing that until you have how many? Till you have 4. So it's gonna be 4 that sits by themselves at the very end. So you skip the next one, and then you're gonna put 5 into the next one after that. That's the top of your hill. So this is 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then coming down the other side of the hill, so you gotta start off with your 5 first. So now you're now considered in the middle of your Afghan, so it'll be slightly different than the way it appears at the very end, which I'll recover there again. So then the very next stitch is gonna be the 1 double crochet by itself, and then how many are gonna skip the next stitch and then you double crochet in the next? So how many times do you wanna have that appear? You should have 8 double crochets that stand by themselves. So you're skipping over 1 stitch and double crocheting immediately into the next one after that. Now on the single crochet row, it's hard to tell. So you just have to make sure you do count your 8 in order to get that to work. So I think I'm close. I'm not sure if I'm on there. So it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then you skip the next one, and then you put your 5 into the next one after that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then double crochet in the next one after that 5 times. Okay, so you got your 5 in there. So you, in order to continue along like you were here, You just come immediately to the next one and then start skipping over and applying your double crochets. There should be a total of 8. The only time it's different is on the very end. So in the very end you're gonna skip the next one and then double crochet in the next one after that. Skip the next one, double crochet after that. How many are sitting by themselves? It'll be a total of 4. Just like that. So what you have to watch for, and I happen to have this on the ship as well because sometimes you get distracted, especially if you get a drink in the other hand, is that these always sit on top of each other. So if you notice that it's starting to come over, there's something wrong. You might have actually only put in 7 or 6 of these instead of 8. So you wanna make sure that you're just kinda looking at it once in a while. If you think that it's starting to look out of alignment, then it probably is. So then you continue to go back to row number 3. So it's 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 3 is again the breaking waves that you see. So you remember how you started that? You chain 2 and you double crochet around the front post. And then the next one was around the back post. So double crochet back post. And then the next one front post. And remember, you're not adding any stitches, you're not subtracting, you're just applying a front or back post. Double crochet to each of the stitches going across, which gives it that layered look that you see within the pattern. So when you have all this nice beautiful color caked yarn, just like you see with the Caron Big Cakes, you can end up with a really unique look. So this is how you do this pattern. This is called the Breaking Waves. This is one of my own designs. I thought it was quite easy to be able to maintain while I was on holidays. I was quite gossiping a lot, but I was able to maintain this pattern without too much counting, and then I gave myself some breaks of no counting in order to make this much easier for myself. Have a great day. We'll see you again real soon. Bye bye.